Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with Alexandria Monge, your realtor. And I hope that the information that I'm bringing in today is going to be helpful, especially for all those homeowners out there that are scratching their head and thinking, okay, I'm about to close on my transaction tomorrow or maybe Monday, and all of a sudden, now this hurricane is coming in. God forbid it affects us, but what happens if any damage is done and we're getting prepared for closing? Well, it's all going to depend on the type of contract you have. If you're using a Florida standard contract, there's two types. One is a regular sales and purchase contract, and then the other one is the as-is contract, which means that you're buying the property in as-is conditions. And both of them have a clause that is common on both of them. Which is called the force majeure or act of God clause, which means that it's any type of event that man cannot control or prevent, such as a hurricane, for example, or earthquake, flood, fire, etc., that can delay the closing. So depending on the contract that you have, well, you will know what to expect. For example, in one of them, it says that if the event, this force majeure or act of God, takes place and it lasts or goes beyond 30 days, then either party has the right to cancel, and the buyer will get his deposit refunded, and both seller and buyer will be released from further obligations. Also, in the other type of contract, for example, it says that if the event takes place and it extends, let's say, beyond 14 days, then again, either party may cancel through written notice, obviously. Remember, everything here is in writing, so you play it safe. So it will be in writing and either party can cancel. Buyer will get their deposit refunded, and both buyer and seller will be released from further obligations. Basically, things can happen. For example, let's say you're supposed to be closing Friday, and this heavy rain affects our utilities. The water connection is gone, or maybe the power is gone. According to this, you have 3 days, of extension, so these utilities can be recovered or restored, and you can close. But if that's not the case, then you have up to 14 days. If it goes beyond these 14 days, then again, either party can cancel, and buyer and seller shall be, released from further obligation. So basically, to conclude this information, what I'm trying to say is, these are events that man cannot control. That's why they're called acts of God or force majeure. And it's going to depend also on your real estate agent. Who are you being represented by, that they guide you and tell you what to expect if anything happens, and the power of negotiation that they have. You all of a sudden you're closing your transaction, and the storm hits and your roof is damaged. Now you have a leak. Okay, now what? Well, you're going to have, maybe depending on the contract that you have, you're going to have on a specific contract up to 14 days, to do your insurance claim and, be able to restore the property to its original, to its original condition. And then you'll be able to close. But what happens if, God forbid, this damage is so rough that you're not going to be able to restore it within that time frame? Well, the buyer will have the option to go ahead and cancel that contract through written notice, and will not be obligated, to continue. And both buyer and seller will be released. So, again, I believe that if a buyer is really interested in your property, and maybe, the damage is not that that harsh, I think it's everything. It's about communication and coming into an agreement. If maybe the buyer, just probably just saw a different property and fell in love with another property, maybe they're going to take advantage of this and say, you know what, time's up. I'm not interested in buying your property anymore. So it is going to depend a lot of the negotiation skills that your agent has, and that, between you and the buyer can come into an agreement and negotiate. Everything is negotiable. As long as there's a common interest from both parties, everything will be negotiable. But if we want to be very legalistic, obviously, and go directly to the terms of the contract, well, at least now you know and have an idea that depending on the contract that you have, in Florida we handle the Florida standard contract, and now you know that there's two types of contract, and now you know that there's a common clause on each one of those. You're going to go directly and look at that clause and find out what are your options. Well, I hope that this information has been helpful. If you have any questions, or you would like to know a little bit more of what you should do in case anything happens, please feel free to email me or call me if you don't have an agent representing you. Or if you're thinking of selling or buying a property, please also feel free to contact me, Alexandria Monge, your realtor, and I'll be more than happy to help you and guide you through the process. I love my work, my job, my profession. It's my passion, and I enjoy even more helping people through the whole process and seeing a happy face at the end. Thank you very much, and keep in tuned for the next time. Next Wednesday at the same time, 10 a.m. Thank you. Have a great and a blessed day.